Hello, Facebook friends. How are y'all doing? Happy holidays. Peggy and I actually celebrated Christmas today with my family because I'm working over the weekend, Christmas Eve and Christmas. So not everybody gets 7 days off in a row like my wife Peggy does. And we had a really nice time.
We did.
Now I gotta warn you guys. I wanted to do this video. I wanted to do this video like 3 weeks ago. Hey, Tim, thanks for watching. Martha, hello.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Martha. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah and happy Kwanzaa, and I forget all the other seasons this year, but happy holidays to all. Well, the past couple of weeks, obviously, with Christmas have been crazy.
He hasn't shopped. What do you mean crazy?
Can you leave me alone? I have shopped. Did you not get nice things?
I did. I got really nice things.
Did they come out of thin air?
I did.
So, anyway, I do have to apologize. Last weekend, I was really, really sick. I still get watery eyes, I still get coughing fits, and my voice is still cracking. So, thank you, Martha. And, so, you know, voice cracking, uncontrolled coughing fits. So just bear with me. I am trying to do this as clearly as possible. So, 2 live posts ago, I said it would be something fun to do something different. Like, I appreciate my fans, but let's face it, like, a good video watch for me is 400 to 600 views. Why do people do shit and it's like, it gets shared and it goes all over and it's like, what am I doing wrong? So I'm thinking, let's up the game. So, two Facebook posts ago, I said, I want to do something different. I want to mummify a pickle. Debbie, thanks for watching. A pickle. Well, because, you know, if I mummified an actual dead animal, people would probably report me, be offended. We could have done a cucumber.
But we're doing a pickle.
We're doing a pickle. Yeah, we could have done a cucumber.
Because of the Christmas pickle?
Well, maybe that's why I had pickle in my mind.
It's in honor of the Christmas pickle.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about...
Oh, I don't remember the tradition of the Christmas pickle.
Well,
it's a German
It's a German tradition.
The youngest child hides the Christmas pickle in the Christmas tree.
The youngest... No. Not the youngest child?
I think so.
I thought the children are the ones that look for the Christmas pickle. And the child that finds it...
Oh, maybe that's it. I don't remember now.
They hide from what I remember, they play hide the pickle, but not the way we do in America. They don't stick you the pickle in the bush like we do in America. They stick the pickle in a Christmas tree.
In a Christmas tree.
Steve, thanks for watching. Tim, thanks for watching. Another Tim's watching. So,
and then they get a special present.
They get a special extra present. So, Peggy, do you want to grab one of the catnip pickles and show what we got one of the cats? So, this is what our cats got this year, because, you know, today is our Christmas because of work, so each cat got a catnip pickle. Shell, thanks so much for watching. Merry Christmas. So, what I'm going to start doing first... Did you want to say anything else about the Christmas holiday, or pickles, or cats, or...
No.
Because, you know... Cats, and, you know, that's a big part of the Egyptian culture as well. Friends, I am so very sorry. My big, clumsy hands trying to show off my cat hit the wrong button, and since these are not expensive, fancy phones, it like totally froze up. So...
It mummified.
Yeah, it almost mummified. So we're sorry about that. We don't even know where if the video was broadcasting while we were trying to fix it.
People are coming back. People are coming back.
Thank you guys for.
Sorry about that. We won't do that again.
We'll try not to, but I do have big clumsy fingers.
Yeah.
But it totally froze the phone. I had to basically reboot it. Well, not reboot it, but I had to totally exit out and try to go back in until Facebook stopped freezing.
All right, are we ready?
So, all right, well, you can listen in. I'm going to talk for a little bit.
Oh, God.
And then we're going to Mummify a Pickle today. So, you guys that came back on, thank you so much. I do apologize about that mistake. Now, this is all for fun. This is not going to help you become an embalmer. It's not going to help you mummify anything like real seriously, even though you probably could do this to a small animal and it would probably work. But I graduated from mortuary school in 1994, and we didn't mummify anything. We just learned about the Egyptians for a chapter. So I just thought that you guys would find this maybe fun and interesting, and maybe something that you would want to share and pass around. And it's a pickle, so it's not offensive. Shouldn't upset anybody, even if you're a little queasy. Yeah. I mean, some of the talk what they actually did might bother you a little bit, but hey, deal with it. That's life. We're supposed to be adults, right? So, like I said, this isn't hardcore. It's more like a fun little Q&A panel if you were at a convention. Do not consider this a class in any sort. So we're talking years since I graduated. I did take notes, mostly so I don't forget what I wanted to talk about. Hey, Troy, thanks so much for watching. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays to all for those who are just tuning in. So, let's start off talking. I swear to God, who hates me?
Hold on. It's my mom.
Can you go in the other room?
Hello?
So, but don't be going long.
Okay. He's live on Facebook. Hold on. I'm sorry.
I forgot to disconnect the phone, everybody. So, anyway.
Hey.
Let's see. What was I going to talk about? So, I think a lot of lay people probably don't really know the difference between a mummy and an embalmed body. Okay? So, the practice of embalming is primarily for temporary preservation. It's not for the long haul. Now, you can do it for the long haul, but not what your typical funeral home would do. Long haul would be like a medical school body, where they get pumped up with really strong chemicals. They don't really care what the body looks like. They're going to overfill it. Body's going to be all fat, and they're going to not drain the fluid. They're after the blood pretty much drains out. They're going to keep as much of the embalming fluid inside, where with a regular embalming, it's temporary. Usually after you die, you get buried within a week, unless the family's far away, maybe 2 weeks max. So it is not for the long haul. Mummification is a long-term, like years, decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years. That is a mummy, okay? There's two kinds of mummies. There's a man-made mummy with the help of man, obviously, and there's natural mummies. A natural mummy would be a body found frozen in ice, or a body that was found in a dry area in the middle of the desert where it dried out and lost all its fluids, but it was in a cave, so, the elements didn't break it down. So, Yeah, I'm talking real professional, right? I am the worst person keeping my thoughts together, and like I said, my notes are just to touch upon things. So let me see if I could try to be more concise. So with embalming, you want the modern embalming is for temporary. It's to make the body look as presentable as possible and as lifelike as possible. Mummification, you want that body put out in a museum. An example of a man-made mummy would actually be like the bodies of body worlds that go around the exhibits, like the Franklin Institute and the Peggy's saying hi. That's weird. You're sitting right next to me. I don't want to alarm you, but I think the witches behind you are multiplying. Yeah, they are. It's amazing. And do you know how you get a witch pregnant? You fuck her. So anyway, Peggy doesn't think that's funny.
That's not funny.
It's a funny joke.
Stick with the Mummified Pickle, Dave.
All right. Well, I read a copy. So anyway, so the bodies of body worlds. That is a great example of a modern day mummy. Okay. Evita from Argentina. You know, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Her, Stalin in Russia. They're examples of modern day mummies. Okay, now when they were embalmed, the body worlds and Evita, and they were used with a process called plastinization. It's kind of like a blend of a liquidy wax and plastic. And with regular embalming, you're basically flushing out most of the blood and replacing it with the embalming solution. With plastinization, they're filling every capillary with this waxy plastic substance that will harden. So that is keeping those bodies lasting a very long time. Plus, they keep them protected. People can't touch them. With Stalin and Evita, they're behind glass. Stalin's been dead so long. I understand that they touch him up. They do makeup touch up. They put moisturizers on his skin to help keep him even longer. So these are examples of modern day mummies, okay? Now, do mummies happen with regular embalming? They can. Oops. I dropped everybody. I hope you all didn't get hurt. So, John, I thought it was funny. Thank you, John. Jesse. I'll look at the first names. You know I know you're Jesse. I love that joke. It's from a movie called Night Patrol. So anyway, there are cases where bodies that were embalmed the regular traditional way, and they become mummies. But that's the embalming was a very little part of it. It was basically the conditions. There's stories of funeral homes that have buried their bodies in good caskets, in good vaults in the grave. Now, the difference between a vault and a grave liner is the concrete thing on the bottom of the grave so the dirt doesn't crush the casket. A vault prevents water and insects and other things and mud to pour into that concrete box or metal box. So vaults are better. And then there's sealed and unsealed caskets, blah, blah, blah. So there have been cases where people have been embalmed, buried, and then they might be moved to a family plot, exhumed and moved, or the medical examiner might have the body exhumed, and they find out, like, hey, you know, there's a little bit of mold on this guy's forehead and nose, but we can clean that off and redress him. He's viewable. And that was because the natural conditions plus the embalming helped that body actually become like a mummy. And I don't remember his name. There was a black activist around the times of Martin Luther King who was shot, and he was exhumed for forensic purposes, and the funeral director and the coroner, I don't remember if there was the same person or two separate people, but they said, "Oh my God, he's perfect. We just need to get the mold off of him, put new makeup on, and redress him, and he's good to go." His son actually was able to go see his father. His son was he's looking at his father face to face. He's older than his father than when his father died. So that was pretty amazing. That's an example of a good mummy that was from embalming, but it was also because of the dry conditions. Now, decomposition, what causes decomposition? Your stomach acids. After you die, the mucus and your fluids aren't there to protect your body from your stomach acids. They start to eat through things. So that causes breakdown. Bacteria goes rampant. Fungus goes rampant. This is all eating you. Insect activity. Animal activity. That's all part of your body breaking down. You've all smelled rotting meat and seen a dead animal. That's decomposition. And yeah, I am a little sick. I'm getting out of breath. I probably should take a couple more breaths before I talk so much. I can't talk as much as I used to. I see what CD education does. Just kidding. Sorry. Gotta go. Have a good Christmas. You too, Tim. So I think Tim just made fun of my presentation skills. Oh well. I'm doing my best, guys, and this is all for fun. So now you got an idea of the difference between embalming, the difference between a mummy and an embalmed body. What do you think the number one ingredient is that you get embalmed with? Anybody? Peggy, you have an idea?
Salt.
You think you get embalmed with salt?
Yes.
Well, you are wrong.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
Salt. Pink salt.
She's trying to cheat because she saw me getting ready tonight. No. The number...
And lotion.
All right, you stop. You're just making this more stupid than it already is. That was not an insult. Don't give me a dirty look.
Oh, I don't care. Go on.
So,
Can we do it? Can we do it?
All right. Yes. I'm trying to educate a little bit.
All right. Are you done?
I swear to God, you are so lucky I'm a pacifist. What's my new favorite line?
It's from.
I got a fresh one for it. I got a fresh one for you if you mouth off again. Anybody that's seen Rogue One will get that. So, anyway, the number one ingredient that people get embalmed with is simple tap water. Yes, tap water. Yeah, you get embalmed with mostly tap water.
Really?
Embalming is for temporary preservation and for sanitary purposes. Basically for, I'm not sure what Jesse means. Are you sure for? I don't know what he's referring to. But you're going to distract me if you keep starting other side stories. So, basically, for every 50 pounds of body weight, it will require approximately 1 gallon of embalming fluid. Now, out of that gallon, only about 32 ounces is actual formaldehyde and other embalming fluids. Everything else is just water and a little bit of coloring because, you want the body to look a little lifelike. So yes, you get mostly embalmed with water. Back in the old days, bodies were embalmed with much stronger chemicals, like arsenic. Back in the Old West, there was actually a case of a body that was propped up in a store for about 80 years. Oh, that's okay, Jesse. I just didn't want to look up for things that aren't in the subject and then go off on tangents, or this is going to be a 5-hour video, and nobody wants that. So, I get distracted very easily. So anyway, they used arsenic back then, which, as you all can probably imagine, was very bad for the health of the funeral director. But arsenic was a great chemical to embalm a body with, because bacteria can't live in it. Animals can't eat it. It's highly, highly toxic, highly, highly poisonous. So those bodies, it was a lot longer than just temporary when they were embalmed, especially if they were kept in a dry place. Another example, and I don't have names. It's like I said, I'm not trying to make this a course. I'm just trying to make this like a fun overview. Another case, one of the best preserved mummies is a Japanese princess that was just found, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s. She was embalmed, but with mercury, 100% mercury, which you all know is highly toxic. But the amazing thing is she was dead for about 3,000 years. When they found her, her skin was still soft to the touch. She wasn't emulsified with conditioners and oils like Stalin is. And this mercury preserved her, but her embalmers and all the assistants probably died within a few months, because that is just a crazy thing to embalm somebody with. So, embalming in the United States. Embalming was not popular in the United States. Usually you died, the family would undress you, clean you up, and put a nice set of clothes on, or pajamas, and they would lay you in your bed, and people would come over and view you. If it was hot out, or if you were there for more than a half a day, the local undertaker might drop off a wooden rack with ice, and they would lay the body on that. During the Civil War, people wanted to see their loved ones getting killed. So many Americans, obviously, brother versus brother, were getting killed, and between the heat and the conditions, and they have to worry about the living people and the wounded, people weren't able to see their loved ones, because by the time they got to their home, they were completely decomposed and messed up. So the first funeral directors in the United States that were popular, I mean, embalming's been around longer than this, but in the United States, the first popular funeral directors that were actually embalming in the United States were your local war surgeons, who were learning off of other doctors how to embalm, and they might have learned that from, their crude medical schools back then, when they went out to Europe. So they were the first ones to really make it popular. Then after the Civil War, people saw the benefits of embalming. Like, even bodies that didn't look bad, they looked much better after they were embalmed. They looked more pleasant. And the profession of a funeral director really started taking off. And the funeral director, your first funeral directors, other than the doctors, were basically people that made furniture, carpenters. They were our first primary funeral directors that embalmed. They made furniture. They were already making the caskets. They had the workspace, and they would basically take their kit, take their assistant. They would go to your house, and they would embalm you in your bathtub. They would lay you in your bed, and they would come back after the family told them they were done with the viewing and their ceremonies. Then it became more elaborate. Families wanted bodies to go to church. More popular people, more people wanted to come that maybe a house couldn't handle. And funeral directors started thinking of, hey, why don't we bring the bodies here at my business, and we will undertake the family's problems. And they were the first undertakers. So it went from doctors to carpenters to home embalmers in the family bathtub to the first undertakers who took all the problems, removed the body, dressed, cleaned, and embalmed it at the funeral home, had the viewing at the funeral home, and it evolved from there. So I hope that little background you found a little interesting. Boy, I'm really was trying to stall for some time and give some interesting background so you guys could appreciate this. And I see I still only have 5 viewers, so I guess this won't be a viral video either. So let's talk about eye closing and mouth closing. Because when you watch a horror movie, the Peggy, are you sending me messages? Are we ready yet?
Yeah, I am. Are you ready yet?
No. Can you please, like...
How long is this video going to be?
The pickle won't take that long. I'm trying to...
It's a pickle that's going to go viral.
Alright. So anyway...
We need to name the pickle.
Petey the Pickle, in honor of...
Petey the Pickle. Let the people name the pickle.
Peggy, but then I'm going to be... Peggy wants you guys to name the pickle, so if there's a name that pops up, whatever. So in the horror movies, when they close the mouths, you always see the funeral director stitch the mouth up. Bullshit, they don't do that. Or you see them stitch the eyes up. Bullshit, they don't do that. But the way they do close the mouth is kind of interesting. I saw a lot of the original embalming instruments and literature in the Museum of Death in LA. Really interesting, especially the history. Oh, cool, Tim. Yeah, my chapter in my embalming book was pretty interesting, which I haven't seen since late 1993. So, but yeah, it was interesting. So, you guys want to know how the funeral directors really close the mouths and really close the eyes, because the way they do it in the movies is bullshit. I'm using this chopstick as my pointer. Now, modern day embalmers, a lot of them will use, I forget what the tool is called, but it's basically, it looks like a stapler, and you put a wire on the end of the stapler that has a tack, and the two ends of the wire come out like a V. So you would go in between the teeth, right about here, staple it in, okay? Then on the other diagonal side, you would staple it in there between the teeth. If you go over the tooth, you're popping that fucker out. It's got to be in between the teeth, okay? But people with soft gums, people with bad oral hygiene, older people, the wires don't work. So it would be tack, close the mouth, bend the wires shut, fold it in. Now the mouth is closed, okay? But that doesn't work for bad oral hygiene, older people, people with soft gums. It doesn't work. So let me tell you how they do sew the mouth shut. My wife is getting bored. Thank you for your support, Peggy. You are my best assistant I've ever had. She's my only assistant.
It's been a half an hour.
Please.
I feel the same way. Please.
All right, so using the chopstick, I'm going to show you. They would go up, okay, up here, in between the gum, okay? In between the gum, with the needle. Now, this is under the skin, okay? It's coming out the nostril. They're going to pull the string out. Then you're going to get the needle. I swear to God, I am not bullshitting you guys. You're going to get the needle, go in the nostril, go to the back of the septum. The septum is this piece of skin that makes your two nostrils. You're going to go across the septum and out this nose, okay? Then you're going to point the needle in, go up, down the back of the nostril, back under the skin. So now you're under the lip again, And now you got 2 pieces of string hanging like this, okay? And you got a firm grip. That shit ain't going anywhere. Chris, thanks for watching. Now you got to get the bottom. Now you guys are really going to think I'm bullshitting you, and I swear to God I am not. Under the tongue. Okay? Doesn't matter what side. You're going to get the needle. You're going to go down. Okay? Going to go down. You're going to be under the chin. Okay? The needle's going to come out the bottom of the chin. Then through that same hole, it's just a needle prick. It's not a big deal. Then through that same needle prick, you're going to go up, and you're going to go on the front of the chin, in front of the jaw, and you're going to be under the skin, okay? And just a little glab of wax or crazy glue, and that is sealed up. No one can see it, especially after you throw makeup on top of it. So, under the tongue, out the neck, up in the neck, but now you're going in front of the chin, out here, out here. So now you got string like this, close the mouth, gonna tie the shit shut and tuck the rest in. Now you have good mouth closure. Then as you're embalming the body, the skin's gonna get firmer. As the skin gets firmer, you're gonna position the mouth, and you want to give them not a smile, but like a slight Mona Lisa smile. You don't want them to look like they're in pain, okay? And as you're positioning the mouth, as the skin is firming, after you get a good mouth closure, you're going to put a line of crazy glue. I don't know what they used years ago, but nowadays they use crazy glue. You're going to seal the lips, okay? And then, to make it look a little bit even more natural, especially since, you know, we don't see people with glued lips together, most funeral directors will put a coat of wax over the lips. They'll put the lines back in the lips, and that's why so many viewings you'll see people and it looks like their lips are kind of off, or they maybe look too perfect. That's because they kind of did, all right? And that's how you close the mouth, and that is the non-bullshit way of how they close the mouth. They do not sew the lips together. So 80% of the horror movies that show mouth closures, it's all bullshit. That's the way they do it. Modern eye closure, needles are involved. That's total bullshit. Obviously, if there's a tear, they would use a small gauge needle. But with the eyes, they would close the eyes, make sure they look natural. Couple drops of crazy glue, close them. Before they do that, they have tissue builder, which is a liquid that turns to a solid when it touches another liquid like water. So they would inject in the eye before they would glue the eyelid shut with tissue builder. And it has some formaldehyde in it, so it has preservation factors too. When that touches the vitreous, which is the clear fluid inside your eye, it gels it, turns it almost into a jelly plastic. That gets the eyeballs nice and round and hard and preserved, okay? They do that to both eyes. Then they put an eye cap or a stay cap. And that's basically a contact lens that's prickly on the outside, the side that's facing out. And that's to help keep the eyes closed, and so the funeral director can smooth the eyelid and keep it at a nice, resting, sleeping look as they're positioning the eye before they crazy glue it and make it permanent. That's how they close the eyes. So I thought you guys would find that interesting. Peggy said I've been talking for quite a while. I do apologize about that. I just thought that you all would find that interesting. Let me just go over my notes real quick. I talked about the ice, 32 ounces per gallon per 50 pounds of body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, you're basically getting embalmed with 3 gallons of fluid, only 32 ounces per gallon of water. How do you get embalmed? Peggy.
Dave, you're gonna lose your assistant.
Okay, I'm almost done. I'm almost done the pre-stuff. I'm trying to make it a little educational and fun.
Dave, it's an hour long.
Did I stop you from looking at the internet?
I'm getting tired.
All right, so embalming, okay? The carotid goes down here, okay? Now, since the left carotid bifurcates, which, splits, the embalmer tries to use the right. Abby, everything you said is spot on and interesting for everyone. Great information for people. Abby, thank you so much for your encouraging words, because I am not a public speaker. I just try to do videos that are different and videos that I would hope people find fun to watch and maybe a little crazy and zany. So, if you could picture, the carotid is right about here. You want to try to use the right one if you can, possibly, because the left one bifurcates down here. So, embalming, you need to inject and you need to drain, okay? So, this is your clavicle. What the funeral director does is pulls the skin tight and gets his scalpel and cuts along the bone of the clavicle. Then when he lets go, the suture comes to about, the incision ends up to be about right here. Then he can expose, right under the muscle, the carotid artery and the jugular vein, okay? The jugular vein is what he's going to drain from. The carotid artery is where he's going to stick the tube in and embalm the body. So, first you would go down. When are you going to go live with the real body? The pickle's next, Jesse. My wife is getting tired of me. She used to support me, but now she's tiresome of me. So you would go down first, and you would embalm the body. You'll see the drainage come out of the carotid. And when you start seeing embalming fluid and you start seeing color in the skin and firming of the skin, you know that the body's been getting good circulation, good embalming, artificial circulation, obviously, good embalming. When the blood starts becoming mostly the embalming chemical color, then they pretty much know it's time to stop. Then you're going to turn the tube and go up, okay? And you're going to embalm the head. So it's pretty simple as that. As they're being embalmed, they're going to massage the arms, they're going to massage the legs, because the body doesn't have circulation anymore, it's dead. Same with the face. They're going to massage the face, they're going to massage the earlobes, help that embalming fluid get around, and they're going to position the face. And that's when they're going to do the eye closure and everything while that's going on. So then the chest, they don't drain all your blood, but you have a lot of organs. You got a stomach filled with stomach acid, you got intestines filled with poop, you got a bladder filled with pee-pee, and you have a heart and chest filled with pericardial and heart fluids. So, so right over the belly button, 2 inches to the left. I'm not going to show you my belly button because I'll embarrass Peggy. Here's my belly button. Can you see that where I'm pointing with my chopstick? Just use your fingers about 2 inches up and 2 inches to the left. So right about here with a trocar, which is, it's basically a needle, like magnified. It's like a sword size. And it's attached to your embalming tube. You're going to stab, it's hollow. You're going to stab the stomach, and you're going to start stabbing and breaking up all the organs inside. And as you're doing that, it's in your embalming tube, and you have it on suction, and you're sucking all that shit out. You're not sucking the organs out, I mean pieces, but you're sucking out the juices and the poop. Then you're going to go down in the hole, you're going to get down, you're going to get in the bladder, get down to the pee-pee, get the lungs, the fluids in the lungs and the heart. You're going to suck all that out. Then you're going to put that tube on reverse, change it from the vacuum to the back to the embalming machine, and you're going to use straight embalming fluid this time, which they call cavity fluid. Usually 16 ounces in the chest, 16 ounces in the stomach and bladder area, and that's going to stay in the body for about 24 hours. Then they're going to suck that out. So that's basically the final liposuction. Yes, Tim. So, guys, I think I bored Peggy enough. And Peggy, I am sorry. I was just trying to make this into a fun class. Don't hate me, Peggy. Do you hate me? She didn't answer. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, oh. All right. So why don't I introduce you to our body today? Switch the camera. Here is the pickle. Nobody gave names, so unless she switched, this is Petey the Pickle. That's his belly button. You like his belly button? Petey the Pickle. And, you know, like I said, this is basics. Basics. We are not going to do this the exact way. Thank you, Tim. We're not going to do this the exact way. That's that CD training, I guess. The way the Egyptians did it. But this is going to give you a good, fun idea. So, with the body, there would be 4 jars, okay? I didn't get jars, but... and I'm not going to use my ones I have on display for obvious reasons. But there'd be 4 jars, okay? They're usually made out of limestone or pottery. And they're called Canopic Jars, okay? So this person just died, and they want to embalm him, which, you know, becomes mummification because of the desert and the nice dark dry tombs. That's, you know, how they became mummies. So the 4 Canopic Jars, there was 4 of them. Let me show you them. Okay? Now, I'm not going to say everybody's names because, you know, it's been years. But there was the human head. I forgot to peek at my cheat sheet. Okay, the human head held the liver. Okay? Yes, I did embalming for a job before. I went to mortuary school. Oh, R.I.P. Petey. So, the first one was the human head that held the liver. Okay? The liver is to the right of the belly button and up. So the liver would be right about here. Okay? Now, if you look like I'm pointing to the left, you got to remember when you're looking at somebody, their left is your right. So, liver's on the right side, right about there above the belly button. And the diaphragm obviously separates the thoracic from the abdominal cavity. And then the next one, the Jackal, which most people called Anubis, which happens to be the god of embalming. The Jackal held the stomach. Okay? So that's the Jackal. The Falcon held the intestines. So, you know, the intestines basically are the belly button area. Large and small, that held, you know, your poopy. There's the Falcon. Okay? Now, the next one is the mystery jar. Because the mystery jar, for the most part of history, was a baboon called Happy. Kind of like happy, but H-A-P-Y. Or some people spelled it H-A-P-I. Happy was a baboon. Okay? However, this held the lungs, by the way. The lungs jar also sometimes was a ram or a goat with curved horns, or a cat. And the picture I have is of the cat. So, human liver, Anubis the Jackal was the stomach. The baboon or cat or or goat was the lungs, and the falcon was the intestines. Okay? Now, with the brain, the Egyptians didn't see much of a use for it. They didn't understand it. They couldn't see a function. They couldn't find the food. They couldn't find the poop. They thought the brain was a useless organ, but they did see that it seeped and decomposed. So they would basically get a hammer and a wooden stick or a metal stick, go up, hammer that shit in, break through the cribriform plate, which is the plate that separates the top and bottom part of your head, where that your brain is resting on. Okay, so they break that on both sides with a hammer and stick or a metal stick. And then they would get another tool. I'm just using the thick end. That would have a little scoop in it. They would go up and scoop out the brain matter and just throw it away. They found it useless. So, Peggy, would you be my cameraman? Can you see me? So, what they would basically do is they would only make an incision to the right of the belly button, okay? They didn't go all the way up to the chest, and they didn't go down the middle like you see in modern autopsy videos. And they would get out the intestines, save them, the lungs, the the liver and the stomach, put them in their Canopic jars. And this isn't as forgiving as a human, so forgive me. They'd take these things out, put them in the jars. So I'm just going to symbolically do that by putting them on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Then in each of those Canopic jars, they would put oils in the jars, and they would be buried with the body and with the person's possessions. So, Peggy, if you could go get me the teacup. Then after they took these things out and they scooped out the brain, they would fill the body up with dried flowers, maybe some sawdust, salt. Okay? I'm going to be a little sloppy because it's just a pickle. He won't mind. Okay? Has a nice smell. Some the Egyptians were big with cinnamon back then, and cinnamon also had a great medicinal characteristic as well, plus being a season. So we're gonna stuff that orifice real good, and it's gonna work as a second factor too, because when I sew it, it's gonna prevent the liquids from wicking and the body leaking. Now they would use like a twine, okay? This is way too thick for a pickle. I would destroy it. We're gonna use a little sewing needle. And I've never sewn a pickle before. It might not work, but I'm gonna just give you a quick tutorial. We're gonna go through, find the loop, pull it in. Okay, I'm not pulling very tight because it is a pickle. If this was human. Now there's two kinds of stitches. I don't know what kind of stitch the Egyptians used. This is a loop stitch where you're basically going straight through and tie. Straight through and tie. Now, if you want, now see I just broke the pickle, but we'll just go through that again. If you want a stronger stitch, You can go straight through, go through the loop, go through the loop, pull, go through the loop, pull, and why that's a stronger stitch is because you're creating knots in between each stitch. Now the last stitch I want to show you guys is the baseball stitch. You're going to start from inside the incision, go on one side out, like this, then you're going to go inside the incision like this. Oh, sorry about my stolen crab fork there. And I'm just going to go back and forth just to show you a different kind of stitch. And that's a baseball stitch. And if you did this with thicker thread, you would see that it resembles how a baseball is stitched up. And this is probably the most common post-mortem stitch of modern day science. Then to finish off the post, usually what I do is I'll go once and pull, go through once again, go through the loop, pull, and I already got a nice knot now. I'm trying not to rip my pickle. Cut the rope. Oh, that string was a lot stronger than I thought. So, wipe my hands. Now, what I would imagine is a good funeral director, and I'm sure a good mummifier back then too, they would want to make this sealed. Now, a funeral director, because you want to prevent leakage, like a funeral director would put embalming powders in there before they would stitch. But you also want to make sure that the outside doesn't leak. What a funeral director would do is get like a rubber glue, go over these stitches, and then put some cotton swabbing on top. Now, I know the Egyptians didn't have rubber glue, so what we're going to use is wax. I don't know if that's what they used. It's what I'm imagining that they probably used. Peggy, if you can get the candle for me. So, I don't know if you guys could see me because I don't have it on selfie mode. Thank you, Peggy.
It's still lit.
It's still lit. Okay, can you see me? So, this is just a way to seal the wound. I'm going to pour wax because I can't really imagine what the Egyptians could have used, but this would definitely work, okay? So you see this is crude. Now obviously taking out organs, putting them in oils, throwing away the other organs, throwing away the brains after they scooped out through the nostrils, and that all helps with preservation, but it doesn't make a mummy. It makes a somewhat preserved body. So, other than the natural circumstances of the tombs, what really helped was the salt chamber. And the body would go into the salt chamber for about 70 days. Peggy, could you get my salt chamber in the salt, please? We just finished what they thought was embalming or mummifying the body. But what really helped was the salt chamber, which is next. So let me switch the camera back. Thanks for coming back, Tim. Troy, thanks for coming back. Okay, Peggy, if you could switch it over, turn the camera. Can you see me? So here is my makeshift salt chamber. And the reason why I picked this container is because it's pretty much airtight. So new air isn't going to get in, new bacteria isn't going to get in. And it's going to recreate the dryness of a nice dark tomb in the basement. Oh, I did forget to talk about caskets real quick. There's many different types of caskets. The term coffin is something very specific. That's what they used in the old cowboy and Civil War days and Count Dracula, that very specific shape. That is a coffin. That is one type of casket. The Egyptians would eventually go into a sarcophagus, which is a body-shaped casket. Just wanted to clarify that because I did forget to talk about that with funeral directing. So I do have some salt in my salt chamber. And here is Egyptian embalmed Petey the Pickle. And can you see him laying in his salt? Oh, I forgot one thing, Peggy. I'm sorry. Could you give me a little glob of hand lotion? Just a little glob. Okay, guys, keep the dirty jokes to a minimum. I'm gonna lube my my pickle right now. Okay. So they would get essential oils and very holy chrisms, and they would anoint the body. Okay. Then Peggy, could you get the perfume and give the body just one spray? And we're symbolically going to perfume the body. So just give Petey one spray of perfume. Oh, she gave him 2 sprays. This is the best smelling pickle I've ever smelled that's not smelling edible. So then, after the body's been anointed, oiled, and perfumed, the body would go into the salt chamber. Okay? Then, the name of the salt, I wrote it down because I'm an old man and I forget. They use natron salt. Well, I'm not going all the way to Egypt to get natron salt. Iodized salt is fine. They totally packed the body in natron salt. And they would keep it in this tube for 70 days. 50 to 70 days is what most of the writings said. And what's going to happen here, as far as the man-made, remember we talked about man-made and natural mummification? This right here is primarily their man-made part of the mummification. As we all know, we're mostly water. So let's say Petey was a 150-pound man. After he came out of the salt chamber, he would be 25 to 35 pounds. That's it. After only 70 days. And the salt around him should be hard. Because what's happening is this salt is going to be sucking every morsel of Petey's liquid, and it's going to obviously harden the salt. And after Petey loses all his fluids, he's going to be in a block of salt, and they would take his body out 70 days later, chip it away, clean him up. Now he's very fragile. He's very fragile, and he's very light. Okay, he's lost a lot of body weight. So, after they chipped away the salt and cleaned him up, then they would wrap him. And it would help keep his body together, because now he's very brittle. And they would put him in his tomb, which was not made of plastic. And they would put him away. So, guys, in about 50 to 70 days from now, we are going to take Petey out. I'm going to show you what he looks like. And then we'll wrap him. We'll use toilet paper. That'll be the most fun. So guys, I really hope you thought this was a little informative, a little fun, a little crazy. And if you found it interesting, and maybe a little wordy, please share it. And let's see what Petey looks like 50 to 70 days from now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye-bye.